A student asked me last week, why can't we make the word it possessive by adding an apostrophe s? That's a good question, because when we take a regular noun and make it possessive, we just add an apostrophe s, like Matt's car. But when we use its as the possessive, we don't have an apostrophe. The history of why we don't use the apostrophe in the possessive it actually begins way back in Middle English. At the time, we switched from grammatical gender to natural gender. Grammatical gender occurs in languages like Spanish, where every single noun you have will refer to masculine or feminine. But with natural gender, which is what we use now, we don't refer to inanimate objects as masculine or feminine. We just have a case for it called neuter. Back when English was switching to natural gender, people who spoke English were just as confused as a lot of people today. At the time, there was no possessive for the neuter, so they just had it. That's why in the Bible we see 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, instead of its length was 2 cubits and a half. There was no possessive for the it, so people had to rearrange their sentences. In Hamlet, we see an example of it being used as a possessive without apostrophe or even an s. When Horatio describes the ghost, he says, "It lifted up it head." In 1597, the first recorded use of it'(s) for the possessive was made by Nicholas Young. There was so much confusion going on that everyone was just making up their own way to create a possessive for it. All of this confusion kept going on until about the 18th century when grammarians started making rules for the language. With the creation of the printing press and more methods of transportation, the grammarians wanted to make certain rules for English so everyone who knows English can understand each other. They wanted to do two things. One, they wanted to reduce the language to rules so people would stop writing however they want to. And two, they wanted to settle disputed points of usage. So in this case, they would have discussed it with an apostrophe or without apostrophe. So whenever you use its as a possessive, remember not to add an apostrophe, because some grammarians 200 years ago decided against it.